like Lucy said, my name is Caitlyn Richbourg. I'm currently an assistant athletic trainer at Ferris College. A little background on myself. I graduated undergrad from James Madison University and just recently graduated the University of Virginia for my master's degree. So I came to Ferris straight out of grad school. So I am a young professional, just like you guys will be very soon. I was newly elected as the Region 6 representative last month, so very new to me, but I'm very excited to get involved in the ATA. So I am here to talk to you guys about 5 for 5, which is our 5 messages for the first 5 years of your professional career post-graduating. So whether that be you're going on to continuing education, or if you're going into a different field, even PT, anyone interested in physical therapy, physician extenders, PAs, anything like that. This is still geared toward you, but I might be a little biased. Just want to open the floor, or at any time you guys have a question or something you want to kind of clarify or anything like that, questions, concerns, feel free to just shout them out. No problem. And we can have a little discussion about it too, because I'm sure if you're thinking it, someone else in this room is thinking it too. Okay? And I have been in your shoes very recently, so I'll try to touch on things that helped me when I had a young professional come and speak to me at James Madison my senior year. All right? So this message touch on 5 key points. You can see them here: professional development, post-professional education, or entering the workforce. So like I said, if you're going on to more schooling, or if you want to jump in and apply for jobs right out of grad or undergrad. And then personal and professional management, promoting our profession, and then getting involved with our profession. And obviously we're going to explain a little bit about the Young Professional Committee, kind of why I'm here talking to you guys, and give you a few resources at the end. All right, so starting with professional development. Continuing education. So understanding the BOC website. You guys are taking the dreaded BOC very soon. Some of you, how many of you are seniors in this room? All right, so a handful. And then juniors, you're next. Yep, so get ready. Sophomores, you have a little time to kind of relax and get ready. Learn from those above you. What to do, maybe what not to do, I don't know. Hopefully what to do. But get to understand what's on the test first, the 4 major categories. And then once you pass your test, which all of you will, don't worry, you will have to do continuing education. And always document, keep documents of whatever CEUs you do. So you'll get emails, you'll get certificates, you'll get any kind of confirmation that you've done these CEUs. Keep them not only for your personal records, but in case you do get audited, which is something that could happen. Make sure that you can prove that you're continuing your CEUs so you don't get in trouble. All right, and then know the due dates when your CEUs are due, how many, and then the new EVP category, you need at least 10 in that category as well, so that's a new thing that you guys will have to be aware of. All right, and then cost. Some CEU courses cost money, most of them do. The more CEUs, the more money. So kind of conferences, they're very expensive to register for, and then you have costs like hotels, travel, stuff like that. Keep in mind the cost. There are some free opportunities, free online quizzes through NATA, and there might be some free webinars, or kind of look around in where you're working or where you're at. Some orthopedic clinics actually give CEUs for some of their presentations there as well. And it's important to look into what the information is for that course. Whether it's you're going to because you really like that topic. If you're, hey, I'm really interested in shoulder kind of injuries and pathologies, I'm going to go to all things involving the shoulder. That's great. That keeps your interest, that keeps you engaged. but also kind of think of the things that maybe you're weaker in. Maybe you're not so familiar, or you don't like dealing with back injuries, or those kind of things. Go to some of those as well, and kind of test yourself, push yourself to learn from these CEU opportunities. Conferences, so I touched on those. Those are really big ways to meet those CEU requirements. Like I said, they offer a lot of CEUs, but they are more costly sometimes for registration. We have the MATA, the District 3 meeting. It's in Virginia Beach this year, May 29th to May 31st. And then there's the big NATA conference in St. Louis, Missouri this year. It's June 23rd to 26th. Keep in mind the cost, travel. Those Virginia Beach is kind of closer than St. Louis anyway. So St. Louis, you might have to buy a plane ticket or a lot of gas money, hotels, everything like that, and registration is definitely more expensive for those further away and bigger conferences. Anyone interested or planning on going to any of these this year? It's pretty early for you guys, that's okay. The VATA conference, the Virginia Athletic Trainers Association conference, was last month. It's usually January every year. That's a really good place to start for conferences. For students, they have discounted rates for registration, and they have their own student symposium, kind of their own separate kind of conference geared towards students and student learning. So if you're still in undergrad, it's a great place to kind of start and get involved, get engaged in these kind of annual meetings. That's where I started. I've been in Virginia all my life, all my career, James Madison, UVA, and now Ferrum in Virginia. So I've been attending VATA since I was a sophomore in undergrad, so a few years now. So that's a great place to start. There's a lot of great information at the conference. So maybe next year you guys can look into it. Professional networking. So all these conferences have a lot of people there, a lot of athletic trainers, but also a lot of doctors as well, and so other people who help promote the profession of athletic training. It's a great place to network, great place to meet people, and kind of create ties for maybe future job opportunities, and it helps you practice your communication skills. So talking to other professionals, especially as a younger professional, it helps you engage in someone who's kind of been around the block a few times. The seasoned athletic trainers is what we call them. And so it's great to get in touch, talk to them. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to someone, a leader maybe of the conference, or a really great speaker that you really enjoyed listening to and learned a lot from. Don't be afraid to go up and say, hey, I really enjoyed your talk. I'm Caitlyn, nice to meet you. And then don't be afraid to follow up with them too. Kind of reintroduce yourself, kind of jog their memory and be memorable. Shoot them an email, say, hey, really great talk. Do you have any notes that you can pass on from your talk? And that's a great way to, one, not only kind of enhance your learning experience, getting some of those key points from the talk, but also to network with professionals that way as well. All right, so moving into number 2, post-professional education or entering the workplace. How many of you are going to apply to jobs right out of undergrad? Maybe, some maybes. How about grad school? Anyone thinking grad school? Good, a lot of grad schools. Internships, yeah, some maybes, good. So any of these positions post-undergrad, you're going to need to apply to. It's kind of a daunting process at first, once you kind of realize what all you have to do for some of these positions, but resumes are the biggest thing. Obviously, you get that's kind of your first impression is your resume that you get to hand to them. So create a resume, get some help doing it. So maybe some classmates that have already graduated and have positions that you might be interested in, say, hey, can you send me your resume? Can you help me can you look at my resume, get some tips, get some feedback on your resume. Get several people to look at it. So not just one, not just mom and dad, not just your best friend. Get some other people, some mentors, some people in the profession, to make sure that you're highlighting the key points that you need to, and you look really good on paper when it's time to hand that in. And cover letters are kind of the same thing. That's your way of kind of expressing yourself as an individual. So your resume is kind of like bullet list. Here's what I've done. Here's kind of my background. But your cover letter is where you can really show your personal side of things. It's in your own words, and it shouldn't just reiterate what's on your resume. It's going to seem boring if they read your cover letter and then read your resume and it's the same exact thing. They're going to get bored. So be memorable. If you want to highlight maybe an experience or an internship or rotation that you've had, and kind of how you've grown through it, illustrate that in your cover letter. Make it memorable. Make you sound good. This is a place where you can kind of brag about yourself a little bit, right? Interviewing tips. I'm sure you guys have heard thousands of interview tips. Be yourself, and that's like the hardest thing to do when you're kind of trying to sell yourself to someone, right? You don't want to come off too cocky, and you don't want to kind of be too shy or too nervous. It's challenging. It's challenging to put yourself out there in front of someone that you don't know. Eye contact is really important. You want to make sure that your points that you're saying are getting across to your interviewer. Be honest. Don't fib. They can catch you in a fib. It's really easy to kind of over-exaggerate things maybe, but they can always check up on your references, and your references will kind of tell it like it is. So you don't want to get caught up in a little white lie or a fib. So be as honest as possible. Dress professional. Very important. Obviously, you walking into the room is your first impression. Your clothes are your first impression. So females, appropriate shoes, appropriate shirts, nothing too revealing. Good length skirts, nothing too short. Suits are good for females. Males, same thing, suit and tie would probably be your best option. At the very least, slacks and a button-down shirt and tie. You want to look the part. You want to look like someone they're going to trust with this job, with this position. Make them want to get to know you. Make them want to give you a job. Financial planning, fun stuff. So negotiating salary is a really big thing for a job, for any position, whether you're a young professional or you've had multiple years of experience and you're applying to a new job. Negotiating salary is scary. You're at the point where they've offered you a job and they say, hey, we want to offer you this position. Starting salary is, XYZ. And you say, okay, thank you. Let me think about it. If you're not comfortable making a decision right off the bat, if you're waiting to hear from someone else, let them know. Be honest. Hey, when can I get back to you? When's a good time? Can I have the weekend to think about it? Can I have a few days to think about it? Don't drag it on and on, or they'll lose interest. But don't be afraid to ask for a little bit more money. Employers like to lowball people at first. This is what I was told when I was in grad school. So applying to jobs, they always kind of give you the very lowest to see if hey, we can give you the lowest, and that'll be good for them financially, but maybe it's not so good for you financially. You've got to take into consideration the cost of living. How much is an apartment going to cost where that job is? Student loans. You've got probably going to have a lot of loans to pay off after grad school or even undergrad. So think about that when deciding on a salary. Always ask. One of my professors at UVA told my class to always ask for about 10% more of what they offer, and that's usually within kind of their budget, kind of within their means of giving you. And it doesn't hurt to ask. The ball's in your court at this point. They want you there. They've offered you the job. They're giving you that option. So see what you can do with it. Benefits are another big thing to kind of negotiate or inquire about when offered a job. Do you get health insurance? Do you get dental, eye, vision insurance? Do they provide you a company phone, or do they pay for part of your phone bill? CEUs, do they have enough money in their budget to help you pay for some CEU courses? Can they provide money towards travel or registration for conferences annually? And vacation or sick days, is it paid leave, unpaid leave? If you're far from your family, will you get a weekend to go back home and see them? Whatever's important to you, you need to make sure that you're happy with what you're being offered. It's never too kind of crazy to ask these questions, okay? And developing a budget. So once you do accept a job and you're getting paid a big salary, a check once a month or twice a month, kind of develop your own budget now. So you have to pay back student loans maybe. Maybe you have a car payment, apartment payment, utilities, all this stuff. Yes, you have an awesome paycheck now, but be smart with your money. Create a budget for yourself, and also kind of maybe set aside a little bit money per month to do something fun. We'll touch on this a little later, but always make time for yourself to be happy. If you like to participate in marathons, 5Ks, set aside a little bit of money each month to maybe do a big race or gym membership or something like that in your area. All right. Resigning from positions. So I'll just touch on this a little bit. It's always proper to give notice that you're leaving a position. At very minimum, 2 weeks notice. You guys have heard about that before, right? And it's very personable if you kind of talk to your boss, let them know, hey, I'm going to resign, I'm going to take a new job, and also write it in a letter, a resignation letter. And that's the professional way to go about it. You don't want to burn any bridges by any means. If you absolutely hate the place that you're leaving, you still want to have, a good repertoire with them, because the next place you go to, they might call your old place, and you don't want to kind of burn those bridges there. And then rule of thumb is if you know that you're going to look for a job, kind of tell them once you've already locked down a position. I think there's pros and cons to that. It could lead to, if you tell them too early, hey, I'm leaving, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to apply to jobs because I don't want to be here anymore. You could kind of create a little stir. Maybe they'll start treating you differently. You never know. But you should tell them absolutely when you are kind of in the midst of accepting a position, to give them as much notice as possible. And maybe offer to help train the next person coming in, show them the ropes a little bit. You want to leave a good name for yourself wherever you're leaving, all right? And the next, personal and professional management, mentorship. So in your new positions as either a grad student or if you're going into the workforce, you might become a mentor, kind of like the ones that you've had here maybe, or at an internship or something like that. Be there to coach someone, whether it's a student, whether it's someone younger than you in the profession. Be there to be open, have them ask you questions, be approachable. If you guys can think of a good mentor that you've had in your past, you were able to go to them and ask them questions, maybe second opinions. Hey, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Can you take a second look? What do you think? Be that person that someone else can go to, and that you can look up to. Also, in a new job, look for a new mentor. Maybe someone's been at that position for 20 years. Get to know your boss, get to know either your head athletic trainer, a fellow assistant athletic trainer, and kind of bounce ideas off each other. Create a really good relationship with coworkers. Is the best thing for you to be able to continue to grow, continue to learn as a young professional in a professional setting. Now that you have a job, it doesn't mean you're done learning. You can still learn from everyone around you. Proper attire, we touched on this. You want to look the part. For conferences or interviews, you want to look professional. No flip-flops, no shorts, no jeans, nothing crazy. You guys have heard this a million times before. You want to look like a professional, especially coming right out of school. You guys look really young. I still look really young. One of my coworkers looks even younger than me, and she's older than me, and she gets mistaken for a college student all the time still. So look the part, look like you know what you're doing, look like a professional, and carry yourself that way, and that will go a long way. So conflict resolution, difficult topic because no one likes conflict, but there are in this profession areas that you're going to have to deal with some kind of conflict, whether it's from an athlete, from a parent possibly, from a coworker, boss, you never know. Learn how to deal with it and learn how to not let your emotions get the best of you. And that's hard for anyone. Whenever there's an issue, you can get really mad about it, you can get really upset about it, but don't let those emotions kind of take over. Kind of maybe take a step back and think through, take a breath and then kind of go at it in a reasonable manner, talk it out. When you do get your emotions involved, and you might say things that you don't mean to say or do things you don't mean to do, and that can really hurt relationships professionally. And you don't want that kind of black mark for the rest of your career with those people that you might have to deal with the rest of your career. Work-life balance. So I touched on this a little bit before. You always want to make time for yourself, and sometimes that's really hard. We're really busy as athletic trainers. You guys know, some of you are athletes and athletic trainers. That's difficult in and of itself. So imagine having a full-time, athletic training position, and having to balance that. Yes, it's wonderful when you don't have to take classes anymore, and you get to focus on just athletic training, but you are definitely busy still, even with a full-time job and no classes. Those going into a grad school position with a GA-ship, you get a sport and you get classes, and you get a lot more sport responsibility with those classes, and they're more challenging classes than undergrad. So it's hectic, and you gotta set aside time. Like I said, if you like to run, go for a run. If you like to read, set aside time every night, every morning to read. You've got to make sure that your mental health is still there. If you're too stressed out, you can carry that into your job, and it's never a good thing. Promoting our profession. MPI number, so a National Provider Identifier. It's an identification number used for healthcare professionals. So it's your own ID number, sort of, and it kind of levels the playing field of all healthcare professionals. And it's really important now for athletic trainers to kind of hop on that boat. There is close to 1 million doctors that have their own MPI numbers, and 500,000 nurses, physician extenders, PAs. All those guys have MPI numbers so that they can be identified as a healthcare provider. And it's really important for athletic trainers to kind of promote our profession and get on board with that. We are healthcare providers. We're just a little bit different and not maybe up to speed with these healthcare kind of laws or terms, and we need to get on the same page to make a better name for ourselves. So there's a website here. It's on the NATA website. You can look up NPI. You can register for an MPI number. It's free. It takes less than 2 seconds. It's really fast, and it's really good to have that identification as a professional. Government advocacy is a really good one too for our profession. There are multiple opportunities to to be heard by state and national legislators. There's the NATAPAC, and they kind of gear towards Capitol Hill Day. So there's an event called Capitol Hill Day. There's a national one, so one in DC, where you get the opportunity to go there and have a meeting. You can set up a meeting with a legislator and talk about issues that are important to athletic trainers, laws that are out there that either need to be passed or in the process of going through, and that benefit us as a profession, as professionals. And you get to kind of voice your opinion, your spot, and it's really important to have and take these opportunities to advocate for our profession. Capitol Hill Day in DC is the 23rd of February, I believe. You can look it up on the NATA website, also the VATA website, I believe it's up there too. And they have a whole itinerary. You can email the coordinator of the athletic trainers Capitol Hill Day rep, and they can set you up a meeting with a legislator, and you can talk about issues that you're concerned with as a professional. Our state has their own Capitol Hill Day. It's in Richmond, and that is on the 17th of February of this month. And it's from like 8 a.m. to noon, and same thing, you can set up a meeting and talk to someone who will listen to us as professionals and kind of tell them what we do. Not all people still don't know what athletic trainers are capable of or what they do on a daily basis. And it's a great way to get your voices heard. Addressing proper terminology. So this is a big one. You'll ask anyone, and I'll be the first person to correct someone if they say trainer. It is a big kind of no-no in my book. It's always athletic trainer. Take pride in our profession. We're athletic trainers. We're not trainers. What does that mean? Own it and be proud of it. And it's always AT versus ATC. I think that's a big one. I still kind of catch myself thinking